Well, here we are. It's the 1st of May. It's Monday. And it was a very exciting weekend for for Jimmy and Marilyn. Marilyn had a 600-mile round trip using the Tesla, where she went up and visited, joined a group of 5 of her classmates, 7th grade classmates, when they were just little people. Maybe not so little. Anyway, so she went up on Friday and came back Sunday and properly negotiated the energy stops in Elon Musk's supercharger network, which is very adequate, by the way. She had no problem, the mapping system, the navigation system with the Tesla is very nice because remember there are 15,000 supercharger outlets across North America, which is pretty nice. So, in major and even not so major metropolitan areas, Tesla has basically a supercharger every 75 miles, whichever way you look. So, no, it's not quite as prevalent as the 140,000 gasoline stations that populate the country. But, all over the country, operators of gas stations, are taking out several pumps and replacing them with electric charger thingies, high-speed electric charger things, so someone can pull into a gas station with their electric car and get, with a 15-minute fill up, which means they can, plug it in, walk in the convenience store, look through all the stuff, Marilyn, she has to touch everything. So maybe not in a gas station, but she touches every other item instead of every item. Anyway, so she didn't stop at a gas station that had electric. We strictly use the Tesla map, which highlights, which shows, it's very nice. I mean, they, so if you put in the address of where you're going, which is up in New Smyrna Beach, Joanne, one of her 7th grade classmates, like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, they went to school together their whole life. So when you put in your destination address and, in the navigator, then as you go on your trip, it, looks at your fuel level and it compares it with how far you need to go to get your fuel level increased. And so, it tells you when you pull into this charging station what your level of your energy level will be when you arrive there. So that's kind of nice. Like in the percentage of your fuel tank. You really don't want to run it down below 10%, which in the case of the long-range battery, that's about 30 miles. And what she didn't do, she never got to that level. I don't think she got below 100 miles of range, which is very good. I mean, and it wasn't like you were stopping every 10 seconds. I mean, the trip is 300 miles. So in theory, you could pull it all the way up and just barely make it there. So she didn't do that. She had a full tank, if you will. I have to borrow some of the vernacular from as we transition from gas to electric. Although we've been driving this electric, the Tesla for, since June, a year and a half ago. So in 3 months, it'll be our 2nd year anniversary with a Tesla. It doesn't take you that long to figure things out. But, when we go somewhere, I generally drive. So this is, this is not Marilyn's first opportunity, but, this is one of the few times, it's been 2 or 3 times for Marilyn, where she drives up with a girlfriend in the car, so, which, is better than driving alone, of course. But she has her faculties, she's in good shape in using the Tesla. So I'm real happy about that. And she's got, let's take a look. Nice thing about the Tesla. Oh, let's go here. Since you can see this. Let's take a look at my blood sugar just for the heck of it. All right, it's 127. That's okay. I want to look at Tesla. So I think if I touch this one, I got 3 T's up here. Nope. That's not the right one. It must be this one. There it is, yeah. Okay, so she's right now, what time is it? So she's at her, we can go here, we can see she's at 2222 North Federal Highway. Let me, since we're playing, let me get, there we go. So now we can have like a split screen here. So the nice thing about the Tesla app, see, there's the car. It's actually black, but I painted it red because black with a black background, the car is like the Invisible Man. So I made it red. The next one we get, assuming there's going to be a next one at the end of this lease term, will be red with a white interior. So I figured, let's get used to red. Black is, white is boring. Black is, a little less. It's pretty good look. We have black right now. It's really attractive. Anyway, so see where it says climate. The number, in the middle of the thing, says 85 degrees Fahrenheit, which means that she has been there for a little bit since it's 5 after 12. She's probably been there for 10 minutes. So the internal temperature of the car is starting to rise. All right, so location. I can push on. So the car is parked. I'm sure it says parked. So location. 2222 North Federal Highway, which is yeah, so it's North Federal Highway. So there's a shopping center right there. And she's in, like in Morton's or something. I don't know. No, it's not Morton's. Anyway, she's in a dining place with her women's executive club or something. I'm kind of making it up. I don't know which organization she's in right now. But anyway, so we can see where she's located, and you can see the red triangular thing. That's her car. We can see how it's parked. And, oops, let's go back. So now we're in the Tesla app. There you go. She's got 57 miles of range remaining. See, it's turning yellow because when you get to 30 miles, then it goes from yellow to orange. And when you know, I've seen all of it because I've gotten down to 1 mile by mistake, but pulled into Snake Road with 1 mile in the rain. I read a memo somewhere, 2 memos from 2 different places and 2 different geographies out west, though. And they said, and there were separate memos, separate people, separated by several months. And they both came up with the same conclusion because they ran their car, their Tesla, to the point where it just stopped. I mean, that's running the battery down too far. There's a danger of draining a battery too far because the batteries may not charge properly if they get drained all the way. So you don't really want to drain them all the way. You can get close to all the way and everything's fine. But all the way, no, you shouldn't do that. And you shouldn't charge it to 100%, although they say it's okay if you're going to go on a trip. But not every day. You should bring it up to like 80, 85%. So they really don't want you to touch, not touch, on an everyday basis. Now, remember, this is a long-range battery, which had 330 miles of range. Now the car is 1.5 years old with 13, I can see right here, 12,997 miles. So that's 13,000 miles, rounding up 3 miles. And so 1.5 years and 13,000 miles, which is nothing, well under 10,000 miles a year. It's around 8,000 miles a year, 7,000, 8,000, with the way we're driving it, including Marilyn's 600-mile trip to New Smyrna. And let's see. So if you have the full what do you call it? The long-range battery. I'm trying to use the terminology exactly as it's outlined when you buy the car or lease it. Long-range battery, which is 336 miles EPA, as demonstrated by the factory to the EPA, right? So now we're at 300. We lost 30 miles of that range just due to the battery degradation over the 1.5 years. And it's hot and whatever, it's 300 miles, not 336. So with a 300-mile battery, you take the top, you take the top, let's say 15%. They want you to not go into the 20%. All right, they don't want you to charge it past 80% on everyday use. It's fine to charge it all the way if you're going to go on a trip. But if you're just going to go back and forth to work and this and that and the other thing during the week, and you don't need to go into the 80%, into the top 20%, then they recommend that you not do that for the longevity of the battery. I pushed that a little bit to like 90%, you know, because although they got chargers all over the place, it's a little bit of a pain in the neck, to plug in and this and that, and you got to wait 10 or 15, 20, 30 minutes, even though he's got it very convenient, and if you're, just the regular guy driving a car and filling up and, driving the car and filling up, and driving the car, which we're used to with the gasoline engine car, internal combustion engine car. You got about, between 400 and 525 miles of range. That's not 300. And then you take away the top, let's just say 90%. So you take away the top 10%, which is 30 miles. And then you take the bottom 10%, which is another 30 miles. That's 60 miles. So now you got a 240-mile battery. Now, and Elon wants to call that long range? Come on. There's nothing long. It's like buying a Cadillac Escalade and saying, I only want the 11-gallon gas tank. And then the Cadillac calls that the long range gas tank. Bupkis. Longer, you don't buy a Cadillac, just plucking that out of the thin air, an 11-gallon gas tank. You always buy the Cadillac with 18.5-gallon gas tank. And at an average of 25 miles to gallon, you do the math on that, and it's, 475 miles of range. So I'm not used to 240-mile range when I used to be driving 420-mile range. I just got cut in half. So I really believe that Elon needs to rethink his idea of how much energy is in the car to increase and to take away a little bit of range anxiety. It's not that I'm worried about the range. Over a year and a half now, I've gotten figured out. I know where you can plug in and this and that. And we have a spot I can plug in the building, in the high-rise building we live in. It's not really that high. It's only, 10 stories. We're on number 8, 8th floor. The 9th floor is 2-floor townhouses, which we didn't want that. So we're on number 8, looking due east, which is very nice. We got buildings in our way. However, we can see the ocean. The ocean's exactly 1 mile, 5,280 feet away. By by the GPS, what you call it. Anyway, so the 300-mile range, which comes down to 270, because you don't want to get below 10%. You may charge it all the way to the top, 99%, to get that extra 30 miles or 60 miles, because they really want to keep you at charge to 80%, charge up to 80%. So you can charge all the way when you're on a trip, which that's fine. So that gives you an extra, 60 miles of range, which thank God. So, but that's 260 miles of drivable range. That's not I want more than that. And not because of range anxiety. I don't want to get in and out of the car all the time, putting electricity in. And then you got to stand around for 20 minutes or 30 minutes while it charges up, which is not terrible. But it's still, it's just, you don't want to do that 3 times a week, and if you're driving the car 10,000 miles a year, which is 25% more than we're driving it, that means you're in and out of the car, the fueling stations even more often. So anyway, That's my spiel on that. But Marilyn did a very good job of managing her energy levels. And we speak in rocket ship terms instead of, oh yeah, I got a gas tank, let's fill it up. No, we go to energy stations and we supercharge. Okay, but anyway, that was cool. Okay, so today we had some very interesting news things. I'm going to just pop this up here. And what I do in preparation for talking to you all over the world, we have a global audience here. So we're going to go, I put things in my photo album of my iPad, which is the right hand screen here. And you can see, whoops, 5 images per line here. Oops, and it goes, where does it go? Yeah, the newest ones are on the bottom. So these are not necessarily in order of what do you call it, but just as a matter of pride and interest. Look at this, Brennan Wilson, sous chef, extraordinaire, and he's at the Neiman Marcus specialty restaurant in the town center mall on the 2nd floor, I think. And he's doing real well there. He likes it. They like him. It's very nice. They have, mostly ladies, dine there. They'll go shop the Neiman Marcus store, which is a very nice store. And then they'll, mosey on up to Neiman Marcus for lunch at 12 or whatever. So he's up there. So sous chef is number 2. The chef, the executive chef is number 1. And Brennan's number 2. And then you got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many people are in the kitchen? Anyway, so that's cool. And Ben Berger is the executive chef, and he and Brennan have known each other for quite some time. So that was nice that he ended up there. All right, here we go. I was sorry to learn that Marilyn told me. She said, "Oh, do you know that the air show was today and yesterday?" I said, "No, I didn't." There's one of the air shows. We've taken a lot of pictures of air shows in Fort Lauderdale. Anyway, this is 2017. So that's a while ago. That's 6 years ago. May 6th. See, and the air show this year was 7 days earlier than that. But you can see, we have some really good digital equipment. This is digital photography here. And you can see these jets. You can see the pilots. So that's why that picture's there. Just as a reminder. And you can go to our website, www.416-1100.com. And you can see Aaron C. Show. Let's see if I have that speed button here. Yeah, Wilson Picks. It's right up there where the logo looks like this logo on my microphone. Okay, so where is it? Right there. See, 416-1100.com. And this is set for the 15th annual Concours d'Elegance car show at the Boca Raton Resort, which this was 2022, and we did not. I couldn't get passes for this year. I mean, it's not that they said, "Jimmy, you can't come." I couldn't figure out who the person was supposed to be that I communicate with, so I could get the what do you call it, the press passes for Marilyn and myself. So since I didn't get them, I didn't want to go there with my, I didn't want us to go there with our equipment. This was in February, and then get rejected at the gate. And said, sorry, you're not on the list. So I like to be on the list. And anyway, so that would be in the category of unique events. You see the money shot there, the money shot with this exciting antique car, and you can see the edge of the Boca Hotel. When you press on that button, then you can see. We'll just do it. Here's several Concours d'Elegance, and you can see the different years. The 9th annual, the 10th annual, the hangar party. Look at this shot right here. Ooh, that is really good. Very exciting. This shot with the blue sky and the red, whatever that car is. I take pictures of cars. I don't know that much about them. I'm a devout electric car guy now, so the thing that accompanies the car show is a hangar party on Friday night. You can see the 11th annual hangar party, the 12th annual hangar party, and the 13th annual. So we've been doing this for a while, And here I'm actually in for the 10th. I'm actually inside Honda's version, the Honda Jet, which is a very unique design, twin-engine jet with, it's like a 7 or 8 passenger jet. Here, look at this picture of the 8th annual Concours d'Elegance on February 23rd. Look, I'm looking right through the antique windshield, and what do we got? The Boca Hotel. He happened to be stopped, waiting in line to go around the circle, for the judges to, do a final judging. Anyway, so we're going to go back because we don't want to be in this gallery, because I want to show you just what the gallery looks like for the... Okay, let me just... The RNC show, where would that be? This is sports. Shouldn't be down this far. Ooh. But maybe things got rearranged. Look at all these galleries. So we've done political events. The presidential debate, 2012, between Romney and Obama. I'll be darned. Well, where is the RNC show? I do have a search engine here. I hate to do this on live television. AIR. And C. W. Search. It's a Google search, but it's going to search my site first. Did I press it? Yeah, I told you it's live television. Oh boy. It didn't seem to search. This site, copyrighted from 1990 to 2023. Notice that the visitor counter, 26,408,780 page views of this site. That is a lot of page clicks. Remember, that's 780. So I'm going to do a little recycle here. Yep. Okay, it reloaded it. I got a pretty fast connection. It said 780. Now it says 781. Just to show you it adds up. Anyway, we've done a number of RNC shows, and I'm just going to have to concentrate on where they are. What was it in unique events? Coming up here, I got mosquitoes, testing cameras. I took pictures of cocktails. A new restaurant bar was opening up. They hired me for a slight sum. And taking pictures of the restaurant, the kitchen, kind of where the food comes out. The executive portfolio, no, it wouldn't be there. Maybe it's in unique events. I can't think of where else it would be. Let's just go down here and see if we see some jets flying around. Oh, no. It's Maryland stuff. Cocktail parties, birthday parties, unique events. Oh, there's Marilyn and Hilda, 2010. Hilda has Alzheimer's, so she is suffering with Alzheimer's. We understand. Go home. All right, so now I'm home. Okay, well, we're just going to have to figure out where the RNC show photos are. It wouldn't be travel. Anyway, so we're not going to spend any more time on that. But I've got a lot of RNC show. Maybe I have to use the ampersand instead of AND. Maybe my search engine component of this. All right, let's try an experiment. Keep it simple, stupid. Remember Don Shula? Let's see if it goes there. I think my search engine is not working because it used to, I've taken all kinds of pictures of FAU football and Florida International University. Is a Don Shula friendly football team, albeit college. And Howard Schnellenberger, the coach at FAU, and Shula, they created the thing called the Shula Bowl. And every year they'd play at FAU, and the next year they'd play at FIU. The next year they play at FAU, and the next year they play at FIU. So they've done that for 18, 20 years. And whoever wins that game gets to keep the trophy in their trophy cabinet. So I used to be able to type in Shula, and all the event photos where Shula was in there, they'd pop up on my search engine. But my search engine is not working. So that's one thing I'm going to have to figure out, but not now. All right, so let's move on. So RNC show. we did. There's the car. Maryland's got 64 miles worth of range in the car. I center that as a reminder. Have lunch and then fill her up. Since we're talking about air and sea, look at that. There's a couple of stealth fighter planes. Pretty nice. And look at this little doodad. This is what you've been probably hearing about with the Ukrainian war. So this is a ballistic, like a bomb, and it's got a little doodad in front there, which when that slams into an armored anything, like a tank or armored some other kind of equipment, truck or whatever, it goes boom. And see, it's got the 4 propellers, and it's got like the DJI, the drone. So this is a drone, a bomb drone. A drone that's a bomb. I don't know what they call it, but it kills the tank and kills anything else that happens to land into. Now, if you're familiar with a drone, which I'm somewhat familiar, the size of this cylinder here is not that much different than this phone. Could it be a little bit bigger, like this? I don't know. So this is, this is like 7.5 inches, maybe long. Maybe that's 8 or 9 inches. But it's got 4 motors on it, and if it flies, it goes, and it, using GPS and so forth. There's some, electronics package probably in the front of this, guidance system. Anyway, it's a killer for a tank, and it's driving the Russians crazy. Here's another nifty little thing that came up today in the Washington Post, the New York Post. I'm sorry, New York Post. You see the Apple logo? Look at that. It's Apple's AirTag, which I happen to have a couple of these. So what the story is here is, in order to try to recover your car, if your car gets stolen, is take an AirTag, activate it the way you would normally activate an AirTag, which is very simple. And then you use the Find My AirTag. Well, an AirTag in the world of, you see in the bottom of this menu thing down here in the bottom, it says people, devices, items, and me. So let's press me. There's me, that blue dot right there, Down-Town Boca Raton, Florida, USA. So, people, it would, my son at his restaurant's up there, number 3 son, and number 4 son. And this is Daniel down here at the JM Lexus in sales manager training, which he's in a 2-month training thing. Jeez, 2 months. All right, so devices. This is where all our iPads and computers are. So you can track down your devices. You can track down your people. And items. This AirTag is an item. So you can see, I put the smiley faces on them. But And you can see Jim's keys, Jim's secondary keys. They're all with me, basically in my studio here. So, but what they're saying is take an activated one of these suckers and say Jim's car, and then take this little booger, which is it's small enough to fit inside this little thing I had hanging around my neck. You see this little thing? It's on a little thing. So in case Jim gets lost, I got an air tag around my neck. But I have this clipped onto my keychain. But what they're saying is just take the air tag and there it is right there. And hide it in your car. You know, under the glove box, in the seating, you know, in the cushion. Unzip the cushion, put the air tag in there, zip it back up. Find a convenient hiding place so that when you dispose of the car properly, you get your air tag back, because these things last a long time. Anyway, so, you know, like 5 or 6 or 7 years. And it sends out a little beep every 10 seconds or whatever. And my iPad, my iPhone, my computer will pick up the air tag. So if someone steals your car, you would say, okay, where's Jim's car? You just look at find my car. And that's how you, well, anyway, in New York, the mayor of New York, Mayor Adams, announced that the city is going to give away 500 Apple AirTags in order to help put the brakes on the runaway car thefts going on in the 5 boroughs of Manhattan. Now, there's a lot of cars being stolen, and 500 AirTags isn't going to actually fix that. And they didn't really announce in this article how they're going to give the 500 AirTags. They're, you know, if you buy 400 if you buy 4 of them at a time, it's under $100. If you buy one at a time, it's like $29. So you save $5 or $6 by buying 4 at a time. You can buy one at a time or 4 at a time. They don't have an intermediary quantity. Anyway, so it's pretty neat, and it uses the ultra Bluetooth, which is a very it's a very very low power Bluetooth, and in a very secure way. If someone with an iPhone is near where that AirTag is, and we're talking about somebody, the communication signal will go right through the airways into that iPhone that might be somewhere near that car, and goes through the whole network and shows up so I can see the beep of my car, which you could go, you know, when you report your stolen car to the police department, and you say, there it is. I got an AirTag in there, and it's beeping, and it's telling me, you know, you used to have to spend $500-600 and then $100 or $200 to install it. You know, these devices. Slips my memory here on what they used to call those, what they do call those. But you know, you know, $600-700 is a lot more money than $25. So here's a story. So this guy is this is a little bit of a fictitious story because I I don't remember exactly how it went, but it's something like this. Guy and girl are getting divorced, and the guy wants to kind of keep a little bit of track on where the you're not divorced yet. So he's just trying to find out, where's the little woman disappearing to every once in a while. She takes, a day at a time or whatever, the disappearing act. Well, the suspecting husband slipped an AirTag either in her back pocket or in her luggage or in her, in something. And he could keep track of where she was. Oh boy. Anyway, that's, a not so funny way to use the AirTag. The other use of the AirTag is hide it in your luggage. So as you travel, you put an AirTag in each of your, one in my main luggage piece and one for Marilyn, and maybe one for my carry-on and her carry-on. So that's 4 AirTags. When you air travel. And then if for some reason or other your bag isn't where it's supposed to be when you land, you can see where my bag is still in Atlanta. Oh, darn it. But you can tell them that, when you go into where the complaint department of where the bag is. Now they can find it, in about 4 days. You can find it now. And you can say, there's my bag. You can show your phone. Say, it's still in the Atlanta airport, and it didn't get on my plane that I just landed. So you need to get that bag. You'll find it on your system sooner or later, but I'm telling you, it's right now in Atlanta. And so you need to get that bag and send it to my home address. And they'll deliver it by some delivery method. I forget how they do that. Limousine service or whatever brings the bag to you. But that's an alternate use of the AirTag. And you put it on your keychain, which I do. So if you misplace your keys, you got it on the AirTag, and you can push a button on your iPhone or iPad, and this thing will beep, so you can find it. Some people slip it inside, if you can find a way, of like remote control. So, where's the remote control for the television? Press the beeper, so you push it, and it starts beeping. I know. So the Apple Watch, and the iPhone are connected. Now, if I misplace my iPhone, where's my iPhone? I put it down somewhere. Geez. So you're walking all over. That's Maryland. Just do up on the iPhone screen. Hit this right here. Is this on? Oh, this is on. Let's just pause that. There we go. Where's my phone, honey? Let's try that again. You hear that? So if the phone is off, it should still do that. Oops. I guess the phone has to, I have my phone connected to, it's connected to this setup here from my worldwide broadcast. Let's see. Let's see where it says connected to Jim's MacBook. So I'm going to, oh, there it is. So we're going to connect it. So now you can see it. So if I wanted to show you the AirTag, you see the autofocus on my iPhone. We'll pick that up. A lot easier than me holding it up to the stupid camera. And then, you can look at the back and you can probably, anyway, it's just a feature. We're going to disconnect that. We don't need that. So if the phone's on the charger or the phone's in the bedroom or whatever, there you go. Let your fingers do the walking. Then you do that a couple times and it'll zero you right in. And I'm always either leaving it in the bathroom, leaving it in the kitchen, leaving it in the living room. I usually try to keep the phone with me because I have my constant glucose monitor. There it is. Blood sugar is at 120. And this does not want to be too far away from my arm. I have a little thingy on my arm. And it's a continuous glucose management system. So when I give myself insulin, I can watch this, So before I go have lunch, I'll take 2, 3, or 4 units of insulin. So that by the time the food starts to digest, the insulin starts to hit, they aggregate, and it keeps my blood sugar under 180. Now let's see how good a job I'm doing with that. I'm not doing that spectacularly. Not terrible, but I'm a biochemist by training, so I should be able to do this pretty good compared to the regular Jamoke. But I'm the phone rings. Anyway, time in range. This is an important graph. So in the last 7 days, 64% of the time I'm in range. 34% of the time I'm out of range, but under 250 units. And then 2% of the time I went over 250. That's a no-no. It's not life-threatening, but, when you get older and you're watching, your blood sugar, because, your internal organs aren't Johnny up to spot with the blood sugar management that it used to be. So you have to watch what you eat, which I don't do that properly either. I'm not terrible, but I'm not as disciplined as I should be. All right, let's take the 14-day look. Remember, this is 64% in range. So what's in range? It's this green part. That's in range. It's at 118, so that's where follow the bouncing ball. So the little green ball is right there, 118. 100 is where you want it to be. So I'm 18 units too high. Micrograms per deciliter. That's what that MGDL stands for. So you don't want to say that. You just want to say you're 117. And everyone will know what you mean. Anyone is familiar with blood sugar and insulin and stuff. Time in range. So we were looking 64% in range in the green. Looking back 7 days. Let's look back 14 days. It's 66% in range. All right. So a slightly better range for the 2-week period. Let's look at the last 30 days. 71% instead of 66%. So over the long term, there was, like last week, the wheels ran off the carts. I don't know what. All right, the last 90 days, last 3 months, actually, the last 84 days of 90, I had a 6-day pause, giving my arms a rest. 80% in range, 19% above range, but under 250, and only 1% of the time was I over 250. So now let's go look at the what do you call it? The we go 6.9. So this is what Abbott Laboratories, the A17, they call it glucose management indicator. They didn't want to call it, the other because I don't know what that just did. I think I'm still running here. They don't want to call it, the A1C because there's a special biochemical definition of what that means. And it has to do with the amount of oxygen that a blood cell can metabolize over a 90-day period of time. So, and there's a very special way of calculating that. When you go in for a blood test at a laboratory. So this is simulating that using the blood sugar data that is getting from my arm every 5 minutes of the day, 24/7. That's not, it says, so when it says 84 days of 90, they mean 24-hour days. Every 5 minutes, this thing pings the phone and updates it with the, see, now it's 116. I mean, you can see, and it's getting down, and it's saying, Jimmy, we're getting hungry. When it starts getting down there, you start getting hunger pains, when you have a normal breakfast, lunch, dinner scenario. Anyway, so that's that. I'm going to go here and go there. So that's the neat news with us. So that's headline news. Look at that. The mayor is giving away 500 of those suckers. I happen to have 4, and I'm going to put one in the car, actually. Good idea. And then I'll call it Jimmy's car. No sense in getting too exciting about. Now, the next exciting piece of news is, the Fed's closing the Republic Bank. I mean, that's holy mackerel. So now that's that's even though it's got offices in Manhattan and here and there, has I think 84 branches all over the United States. Is a $229 billion bank, at year end. Or maybe that's March 31. But the Feds jumped on that sucker. So last night, yesterday afternoon, the way the Fed does this, and we actually bought a bank. It was called the Can you believe this? The International Bank of Hollywood. I mean, the bank was this big. International Bank. The bank is sound like is, and it was in Hollywood on Sheridan Street. And Phil Motter, my able partner, he actually hired me in there. And then out of the goodness of his heart and fairness, he said, Jimmy, you and I are going to be equal partners. So we're going to even out the shares. And so that was very nice of him. He didn't have to do that, but he did it anyway because he's a genuinely nice person. And after we worked together for a year or two, he decided, you know what? You are an equal contributor to this partnership, so we should have the same number of shares. So, and we had, as I remember, 17% each of the bank, which is big numbers for a commercial bank, for operating officers of a bank to have over 15% ownership. That's pretty amazing. But the way we organized the PPM and the bringing in of capital by the people that we know that were investing, they wanted us to have a sizable stake in it because they want us to, reap the rewards of doing a good job. So, and they reap the rewards. So we're Mr. Work, they're Mr. Money, and they're going to get 2/3 of everything that we do. Anyway, San Francisco-based First Republic Bank. Whew. The third mid-sized bank. Mid-sized bank is $229 billion. Who the hell are you kidding? That's a big, big bank. Oh, God. So as of April 13th, that's 2 weeks ago, the Republic had $229 billion in total assets. Total assets includes, buildings, calculators, and loans, treasury bills. And they had $104 billion. I'm looking at this. $104 billion in deposits. So what the Fed does is the 14th largest bank in the country. That's top 20. So that's a big bank. You call it mid-sized bank? Bull crap. No, it's not a $1 trillion bank because you got these big $1 trillion banks like Bank of America and so forth, and the winner of this one was J.P. Morgan Chase. So that's the Chase Manhattan Bank that merged with J.P. Morgan Investment Banking Company. And they, that was merged in one of the last financial crises. There was a merger of, they were not hurting. It was not an assisted merger. It was a, free open market merger. This kind of a merger where the FDIC comes in and they got a rope around the neck of the First Republic executive officers and the board of directors and their shareholders. They got a rope right around their neck, and they stick your nose, right into J.P. Morgan Chase and say, make a deal. So the FDIC basically went to 4, 5, 6, 7 other interested parties. You fill out a questionnaire and say, hey, we ever have a bank closure thing? Do you want to be on the list of things to look at? So apparently J.P. Morgan Chase ticked yes on one of those forms, or somebody did down the line. And so the FDIC called J.P. Morgan Chase and several others, gave them a bid package, and each of the banks bid on it, and apparently bid on all, this deposit and $229 billion in assets. Can you imagine? With a wave of a pen. Now it's J.P. Morgan Chase's. Bam! The power of the government. If you don't run your bank right, they will take it away from you and give it to somebody else. And these deals are very favorable for the acquiring bank. And they are essentially riskless because they've taken all the risk out of it. All the deposits, they ran off, or I should say, customers ran off $100 billion in deposits. So what does that mean? So let's not talk about the super large guy. Let's just take a guy that's got $1 million in cash in the bank. Okay, in exchange for having $1 million in cash in the bank, provides very favorable, loan treatment. You want to buy a car, want to buy a boat, want to buy an airplane, want to buy a yacht, whatever. You got $1 million in the bank. You got the attention of the bank officer. Anyway, so when they say that Republic Bank, had $104 billion in total deposits, that means that probably over $100 billion in deposits ran off. So what does that mean? So now we're going to go back to the $1 million guy. So you got $1 million in deposits. Well, only 250,000 of that deposit is guaranteed by the FDIC. The rest of it is at risk. So what that customer does when the news is out, so to speak, rumor that First Republic is having trouble, they move the 750,000 of the unprotected from the FDIC deposits. They take the $750,000, put it somewhere else, and maybe in 3 other banks. $250 each. Anyway. Now, the way the FDIC insurance works, I can have $250,000 deposit insured with an account that's in my name. Marilyn, she could have $250,000 with FDIC insurance in her name. So, the husband and wife team, you've got that's $500,000 of deposits that are insured because each of our accounts are insured because they're 250 or less. Now, we can have a third account that's joint, Jimmy and Marilyn. So that's another $750,000 that's insured. So, people protect their money by doing what I just said, those kinds of things. And, you could have the Jimmy, Marilyn, and Brandon account, Jimmy, Marilyn, and Daniel account. So every time you do that with different parties in the end, you add another $250,000 worth of insurance. And you move all your money around that way, and that way everything's protected. And I just went through, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that was $1,250,000 in FDIC insurance, just with Marilyn, myself, and 2 kids. Now, you can't just rearrange the names. So, Marilyn, Jimmy, Daniel, you can't make it Daniel, Jimmy, Marilyn, and consider that a separate account. No. So if it's a Jimmy, Marilyn account and we add Daniel to another account, that's a separate account with separate FDIC insurance. Anyway, so $109 billion worth of deposits either moved out of the bank or got protected in the way I just said. Now, if you got, 25 million in deposits, like you're a principal of, uh, the, like Amazon.com, and you're like the executive vice president of Amazon.com. If you want to protect that money, you got to take it out, except for the little tiny 250. And apparently in Republic, Zuckerberg, the Facebook guy, had billions in deposit in the bank. Now as he knew things were, getting tough, he pulled that money out. So when you get some of these big guys that pull their money out and move it somewhere else, which is a big, it's when you talk about moving money with that amount of money, you've got lawyers and, you got your accountant and your lawyer, your legal department and your accounting department. They are supervising the movement of that money from one place to another. You just don't walk in with your checkbook and say, okay, I want to make a withdrawal of $5 billion. And they don't send you out there with a bunch of, suitcases. No, it's all done with, in the Fed wire, in the wire rooms of these banks, which, I got to understand quite a bit about that. So that Republic sucks. I have some of these platform CEO Mark Zuckerberg had big accounts there. Oh, they're in the San Francisco, and that's Silicon Valley stuff. They had 4,600 employees. There we go. So that's what happened to Republic. So they opened up this morning under Chase Manhattan Bank. They had, Chase Manhattan Bank, name put on waterproof canvas, with the brass. And they gave those out to sign companies all over wherever the hell these branches were. And they put up those canvas signs or, electric signs, whatever kind of signs they may have in inventory in a warehouse somewhere. I used to have signs at Southeast Bank that said, if you want a construction loan, call Jim Wilson. I had like 10 of them made up. Big 4 foot by 8 foot plywood signs with my name on it with a Southeast logo and a picture of a building and all that. So anytime I started a new construction loan, I'd plant one of those big signs there. So if anybody riding by that's ready to build a nice new building, because it's in their corporate plan, then they can call Jimmy. And I put my cell number right on there. This is my direct line. You call right to Jimmy, and we'll discuss your project. And I'd get business right off the signs. Here, I want to show you this. So my kid is Daniel. He's in training. What do you call it? Sales manager training at JM Lexus. So he had this. Someone threw out this figurine that's sitting on their kitchen counter, and I just wanted to show you a iPhone iPad feature. I can touch this figure. You see how it just went cloudy all over? And see that? I've actually taken that figure and it's been masked, so the background is now eliminated. And when I lift my finger up, I come back and it says, "Do you want to copy that?" Maybe I moved it too far away. There it is, copy. And then I can go, for example, to, let's see. I'm going to send it to myself. I have my own account. There it is. Text message. So I can go right here, touch that, paste, and look what we got. We got, now we've got a digital image of this figurine. So you can do that with any kind of people, change the background so they're, on the beach instead of sitting next to the golf course, whatever. That's a feature of the Apple operating system. So my kids sent me that picture and I sent them back, that figurine that was basically just like I showed you. And that's why I did that. So let's see what else we got going here. I'm about done. I think I am done. Yeah, this is a picture of New York City's mayor, Eric Adams, talking about the AirTag with the police department and so forth. And see, they got all these AirTags, these little boxes. If you can see it right at the edge of that, that's a whole bunch of these things, lined up right there. That's what all that. And then this little wall. That's the 500 AirTags. So the city bought those from the local Apple store, and or ordered them in, whatever, for this announcement this morning. And it's a very good idea. For $25, you put one of those, hide it in your car, and if anyone steals your car by chance, I had a brand new car stolen right out of the parking garage here. I mean, it had 700 miles on it, a Honda Accord. Bam, it's gone. I go out there, I'm ready to, whoop, where is it? It's gone. Jeez. I go to the building manager, I say, "Where's my car?" They say, "What car?" Everybody's palms up. So, never found the car. I filed a police report and all this, and I called the insurance company. I said, "Hey, car gone." I said, "No problem. Just let me send you something, and you fill out an affidavit and say, honest to God, it's been stolen. And we'll put police reports out everywhere and see if we can find it. It's probably in, on a ship somewhere. It's probably already, they put it in a container and it's gone. Or they take it into a garage and chop it up. Chop. Anyway, so this is a good idea. So at least you have a shot at where the car might be. As time goes on, the might get canceled, or might be in a junkyard. You put it in, it squeezes it, when they take out the, what do you call it? Oosh. So that's the end of my thing here. I've been talking here for 1 hour and 19 minutes and 52 seconds. So we're gonna call it a day. And I have one prescription ready at Publix. Look at that. I got a little, message saying, "Come get your prescription." I'll have to go look it up and see what that is. Anyway, so you all have a great afternoon. I'm going to make me, I'll tell you what I'm going to make me. Right there. It looks just like that. It's a 20-ounce cup of chicken noodle soup. How wonderful. I have spaghetti that spaghetti, which I cut with the scissors. I stuff it with spaghetti, and then I rotate the cup, and I got real sharp kitchen scissors. That chops it up. Then I pour the chicken broth, clear chicken broth in there, seasoned with, things. This is like little pieces of parsley and some other spices, mild spices, and a little salt and pepper, and you're ready to go. Have a beautiful cup of soup. Chicken soup. My mother said it's very good for you. Yeah. And so that's what I do. And so we're going to call it a day. And, yeah. The crowd outside is saying, "Get out of here!" All right. So listen, we're gonna cop out of here, and I got my hand on the soundboard because this is our closing tune, our opening and closing tune. So you all have a great afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow.